When you hit a 22, so it's a 36 is a perfect score on your ACT. Once a student hits a 22 on their ACT, that's when merit-based money begins to fall in. It has.
Can I stop real quick? So that's something that if I was listening to this presentation, I would write that down, saying, oh, the 22 is a number that I should be looking at. Anything above that, okay?
Yes.
So you don't have to, just merely making a really positive suggestion to you, but that's something that I would write down, okay?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so 22 is that base score that you're gonna get merit-based aid for. I made my daughter take her ACT 4 times until she got that 22. Because that 22 is a difference of 0 or $5,000 in some universities, that ACT score. My son just took his ACT score as a junior. He walked in, I do this for a living, you think he studied? Absolutely not. He got a 15, okay? It's a 36. He didn't study, so I told him, guess what are you doing this summer? You're gonna be studying, and you're gonna take it again in the fall. And he's gonna take it again this year. He's gonna take it as many times as he needs to get to that 22. I will make sure that he does that, because that 22 secures that merit-based foundation. Yeah.
So, sorry, just because I didn't want to forget, but I was talking actually yesterday to an NCSA lady, and she's having a recruit specialist call us tomorrow. But the one thing she did say when you went back to talking about athletic scholarships not being guaranteed, she said once a college, and I want to make sure this is correct, once a college offers you an academic scholarship, that's guaranteed if you accept it.
Yes.
That's the 4 years.
That's the 4 years. That is correct. So for example, like if we're talking about U of A or in-state schools, whatever. So there's 2 times in a student's academic career that they're going to get the most amount of money. That's as an outgoing senior and as a transfer student from a community college to a 4-year university. So they will never get offered that same amount of money at any point in their academic career. It's as an outgoing senior and as a transfer student from a community college to a 4-year university. So yes, that is correct. So once
couldn't you lose your academic scholarship as well because you fail and don't?
So every institution, depending that's in-state, out-of-state, they're going to have their own academic requirements. Most of the time, is say if it's like that 4-year full 14,000, like for here for U of A, it's 14,000. That's the most you can get. That's a 3.0. If you fall below that, you're at risk of being on academic probation and losing that scholarship. And then then that goes up to full price tuition for that next year. Yes. So again, that kind of goes back to what you were saying, is once I earn my scholarship, I have it for all 4 years. No, you don't. It's based on per year. And then, you don't have to have good grades for a college scholarship. Well, yeah, it's the most amount of money you're going to get is academically versus athletically. Yes. And then I am a star athlete, and outstanding student coaches plus scholarships will find me. How many of you guys know that's false? Yeah. You have to be the one that's doing the work. It's not your parents' job. It's not your coach's job. It's your job, right? Right. Okay, so what is a financial aid package? So like I said, we kind of briefly talked about FAFSA. So do I have any seniors in here at all? No seniors. Okay. So next year, for my juniors that will be seniors, so every October, this is only the 3rd year that FAFSA has opened in October. Normally it has opened in January. So for the past 2 years, it has opened in October, which means that the universities can get their financial aid packages out sooner. And that's one of the reasons why that they did that. So as far as for FAFSA, that's your free application for student aid. And then it also that's the first thing that they take is, first and foremost, the coaches are going to ask you, are you FAFSA eligible? Yes or no, that's fine. Then they're going to ask you, what is your grades? What is your GPA and what is your ACT score? That's going to be your merit-based scholarship. Every institution has their own discretionary funds. So that's going to be their institutional grants. That's going to be any university grants that they offer. So every school and every division is different. So when we're looking at institutional grants or match programs, every school is different depending on where you go. So I highly recommend for you guys to research those particular schools that you're interested in and see, what other scholarships do they offer. Then they're going to take out any outside scholarships that you get. That would be any national merit-based scholarships, any local scholarships that you get, all of that. So any outside scholarships that you get, they're going to add that. Then they're going to say, are you eligible for any loans? Because they're going to take into that loan amount as well. Then the athletic piece is the final piece. So when you hear students say, I got a full ride. No, they didn't. It was not a full ride athletically. Yes, if you are the Khalil Tate and you're at U of A and you're a superb athlete, you're gonna get a full ride. That's everything paid for. What is the percentage of that? Not many of us, right? So they're gonna take into all these other things that are considerations for a financial aid package. So FAFSA eligible, GPA, ACT scores, any institutional grants, and then what can we give them athletically? That's gonna be the smallest piece. So you are gonna look so much better to a university if you have a good GPA and a good ACT score, okay?
Are you gonna talk about college green light later?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Does that hold true for junior college transfers as well? Like they're sophomore and then
They will always take into consideration the FAFSA first and foremost.
Okay.
They're gonna see whether we have a lot of families that are like middle income, they're like, we're not gonna qualify for FAFSA. A lot of community college universities, they will require you to fill out a FAFSA regardless, because they're gonna see how much are you eligible to take out in loans first, and then they're gonna say, okay, what is your student's GPA? What is their ACT, SAT score? And what can I give them athletically? What do they have in their bucket to give? And then they'll say, okay, this is your portion as a parent that we expect you to contribute to your student's education.
Mike?
Yeah.
One topic that can kind of be a tough one to tackle is scholarships. Being female athletes, it's not as glamorous. There's very few full rides, no matter what university, no matter what program, no matter what sport. And I think you need to be sure you do your parents' favor, yourself a favor, and you explore all options, whether that be financial aid, supplemental scholarships, academics, anything like that to help you out. And at the end of the day, you're there to get a degree, so if you don't get a full ride, you gotta do your work and see what else is out there to help you.
Okay, so based on going off of scholarships, how many of you know what College Greenlight is? Any of you? Okay, so I want you all to write that down. collegegreenlight.com. collegegreenlight.com. This is not spam. This is not like, oh, I have to fill out 500 surveys to get some information. College Greenlight is a national database scholarship service, completely 100% free. This will stay with your student the entire time they're enrolled in post-secondary education. So how many of you guys know that you can start receiving college scholarships as young as 7th grade? 7th grade. So that's what College Greenlight is. So we had a student 3 years ago from Edrata High School graduate with $120,000 because she started doing College Greenlight as young as in middle school. So all of my kids have College Greenlight accounts. And what this is most scholarships right now that are out right now, all of you in this room can apply for, because the criteria for that is you just have to be a high school student. That's it. Not an outgoing senior, not an undergraduate, nothing. Just a high school student, okay? So like I said, I have a freshman that's gonna be a sophomore. My son's gonna be a senior. They have all had College Greenlight's accounts. My son, who's a senior, has already received 2 College Greenlight scholarships that they're just holding for him until he graduates. So once you create, it's a free profile. They're not gonna receive spam. They're not gonna receive junk mail. What they're gonna receive is, once you guys create a profile, whether or not you've taken your ACT or SAT or not, I would encourage you to put in your PSAT score. When you do take your ACT or SAT, put that score in as well. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to match you with scholarships, okay? So based on the colleges that you pick, you could, the one thing about College Greenlight that I love as for parents as well, is you can research any college. You can see the cost of tuition, out of state, in-state. You can see the campus culture. You can see dorm life. You can see videos about each colleges that are there. You can find out all of that information. You can also apply through the Common App, through College Greenlight, to all of those out-of-state schools, okay? Once you're accepted into a college, every single institution has their own scholarship portal. So I encourage all students, despite where they think they're going, where they're gonna be recruited from, all of that, you need to start looking at those scholarships that are available to you. How many of you guys know of what WUI is? That's the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So when I have student athletes that come to me that are like, I wanna get out of Tucson, I hate Arizona, I wanna go somewhere else. Okay, that's good, that's fine. But look under the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. Within that program, there are 16 regions that you can get in-state tuition for. Okay, so that you're paying Arizona State tuition for those out-of-state tuition schools, okay? So not all universities are part of the WUI. So you want to see, when I have students that are looking at going out of state, that's the first thing I ask them. Have you looked into the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program? Have you looked into those states that are part of that program to see that if you would be a good fit for that program, okay? This is where your research comes in. This is where you guys do need to spend time doing that.
So parents, I'm just gonna say this to you guys, so that means if they go to California or Colorado or, I don't know if Utah's in this part or not, and that school is in the WUI, then you're gonna pay Arizona tuition instead of paying the out-of-state tuition that you would normally pay. So that's a part too, is you're looking at schools. And if you go to the WUI website, it will list all those schools that are there.
Yeah, so that's the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. You can see they'll do a whole top to list bottom of all the regions, all the states, all the schools that are listed under that Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So you're gonna be paying Arizona state tuition for those out-of-state tuition schools. You know, again, going back to my daughter, she was being recruited by Colorado Mesa, she was being recruited by UTEP, all these schools for softball. And when you're looking at $47,000, $50,000 a year schools out of state, it becomes, and that's just tuition, that's not including room and board, so you have to think about those. That's not including room and board, that's not including the meal plan, that's not including any of those things. You guys wanna make sure that you're thinking about all of those things as a whole. It's not just tuition. There's all of these other expenses that you guys have to think about, right? Okay. And then for scholarships, one of the things I wanna make sure, when I tell all my athletes, I understand that the majority of our athletes are gonna be going out of state. But one of the things I tell all athletes, no matter what sport they are, is to apply to all of our state institutions regardless. Because I see it too many times where athletes put in all of their chips into another bucket and that just something doesn't fall through and they've missed all of the deadlines for our in-state schools. We have so much money here in Arizona to be able to provide for our students, and then a lot of that goes unused, okay? So for example, Arizona Earn to Learn, it's a savings scholarship. My daughter's part of that program. You save $500 within that academic year, they match you with $4,000. That's it. When we heard about this, we thought it was a scam because we're like, no way, this can't be true. There is an income eligibility. It's not the same as FAFSA. It's not the same as the federal guidelines. They take into consideration how much money do you owe on your mortgage? How many car loans do you have? How many kids do you have in college? What are your expenses? They take all of that into consideration. So, but what's the part on the student? You have to save $500, but they match you with $4,000, and it's renewable up to 5 years. Okay, there's no GPA requirement at all. So that's another amazing one. College Success Arizona is $6,000 per year. It's a total of $24,000 for 4 years. These are all of our instant opportunities. So I know a lot of you are thinking, okay, out of state, out of state, out of state. That's fine. But make sure you guys are considering your in-state options, okay? The Flynn Foundation Scholarship, the value of this scholarship, including tuition provided by the university, exceeds $115,000 a year. So how many of you guys do you know about Campbell's soup? How many of you guys, you know Campbell's soup, right? Chicken noodle, tomato soup, all that, right? That's the Dorrance family, okay? They are based out of Arizona and Hawaii. That's just their region. The Dorrance is for first generation students, and that totals up to $12,000 annually, plus a study abroad component. So any of you guys that are first generation students, this is if your parents never graduated college. They could have gone to college, but they never graduated college, okay? That you are first generation. A lot of students don't realize that. How many of you guys have older siblings? Right, okay? So if your older sibling is a first generation student, are you a first generation student? Yes, because you're within the same generation, right? So there is a lot of money for first generation students as well. So your parents could have gone to a university, could have gone to a community college, but never graduated. You are still considered a first generation student, okay? Okay, so when we're talking about GPA, this is the U of A is their incoming freshman scholarship. It's pretty comparable about, cross nationwide, it's, give or take a couple $1,000. but we like to use the U of A's model because it is pretty comprehensive all across the board. So as you,
I'm gonna stop you real quick, and I want to see if they can read this themselves, because you did do a lot of talking, I want them to look and see if they can decipher it. So, I'm gonna ask this question, if you have a 4.0, and your ACT is a 22, how much money could you receive? Alright, let's raise our hands so we know that we're actually good. Caroline, how much? $6,000, okay? So you understand, you're looking at your GPA, you're looking at your ACT score. So as you go higher, you can see how this correlates, okay? Good job, Caroline.
so this is why we like to use this, it is so important, not only for your GPA, but for that ACT, SAT score. We tell all students, honestly, to take both, because they will always score higher on one or the other. They're completely two different tests. One is very comprehensive, and one is very like science and math oriented, okay? One of the best tools that we have out there right now is called ACT Academy. It's from ACT.org. That's one of the things, again, on my son probably hates me because I'm probably one of the most strictest mom ever, because I changed the Wi-Fi password, all of that stuff until he does like college access stuff. But he will take it again. He is actually studying for it right now. He hasn't even started his senior year yet, okay? But ACT Academy is completely free. They can sign up, complete a profile. Parents, you can complete a completely free profile. This will say that they can practice, you guys can do practice tests. You can see practice questions, all of that stuff. How many different high schools do we have here?
I would say all of Tucson, basically.
All of Tucson. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see us in some of your high schools doing ACT Prep Academy, okay? We'll go into your high schools, we'll tell you some of the questions, you know, as far as math and science, roughly you have about a minute to complete those questions. So if you have not started preparing for that ACT as sophomores going into your junior year, I would highly recommend you guys start studying for it now. I know that kind of seems like, oh my gosh, it's so far ahead, but the better score you can get on this, the more money you're gonna have. Like I said, I had my daughter take it multiple times just so she can get that baseline of a 22. One of her other softball athletes, she took it 6 times to get a perfect score. She got a 36, and now she's at Yale for a full ride. So it does matter. When you're talking about 6 times, right? But when you're talking about a 22 from $6,000 to $15,000, how many parents are like, yes, take it again, right? Exactly. So it's so important. The most amount of money you're going to get as an athlete is not for athletics. It is going to be 100% for your GPA and your SAT or SAT score. Okay? So just keep this in mind. Yes?
Question, how often can you take it? Is it a period they have
You
to
can
wait?
take it as many times as you want. Usually, yes, I mean, you do have to pay for it. However, usually it's a month out. So like say if you register in August, you're going to probably be taking that test in September. So when you register versus when you take it, it's about a month apart. They can take it as many times as they want. They can send as many times their scores to whatever university. They're only going to take the highest score. So if you send a score with a 15 and then you take another one and they get a 28, they're going to take the 28 over the 15. That's all they care about. They care about the highest score possible.
So they offer it like every month?
Yes.
And it's at different schools. At different locations.
Yeah, so you can go on the ACT or SAT website. It's going to tell you within your region what schools are going to be hosting that ACT. So it's going to be all over Tucson. Yeah.
I'm so excited about the ACT.
I know.
Well, I want to touch on why it's called student athlete first. I think that's very important, and a lot of times people only focus on sports because, you know, that's going to be the fun and exciting and glamorous part. You know, whether it's you're done after your 4 years in college or you go on to play professional, at some point your athletic career is going to stop. You need to make sure that you're really prepared for that. And I think that's what's really drew me to Nebraska is their athletic facilities. They had tutors, they had mandatory study hall hours. I recently went back to the university a year and a half ago to help do some mock interviews for myself, and I don't think I would have gotten the job I have today without them. So, you know, you need to look out for a program that's going to majors, that those schedules and class schedules, if there's mandatory classes, that they don't compete with your programs or your soccer's hours. There's just a lot of things you need to think about besides, are they just good at soccer? So just be mindful of that.
Yeah, so I'll touch on a little bit about what Jalen said. So, my daughter, her batting coach was autumn champion. She played 4 years with Mike Kendrea at the University of Arizona for softball. But one of the things going into, especially to a Division I school, is a lot of times they will pick your major for you because they want to make sure that your focus is going to be the athletic piece. What I have always told my kids or any students, athletes that I see is first and foremost, it was what? Your academics, right? If you get to go to school and play your sport on top of it, that's the cherry on top. But first and foremost, you need to go to a school that has your major, and that one is going to support you academically. So again, going back to my daughter's situation with her batting coach, she played 4 years with Kendrea. She wanted to go into nursing, and they said, you know what, no, you're going to go into education. Why? Because that's easier versus nursing. So she played 4 years with Mike Andrea, played softball, had all of these accolades to show for it. Later on, went back to school for nursing, and now is in debt because she went back to school for nursing because that is initially what she wanted to do. So you want to go to a school that has your academic success in mind, right? So if you want to go to school to be a doctor or to be a nurse or a lawyer, one of those things, do you think that they're really going to care? Honestly, I'm just being honest, right? Their job is to win championships. That's what their job is, right? That's their job as a coach. But first and foremost, you're there for your academics, and if you can play your sport on top of that, it's a cherry on top, right? But you want to go to a school that has your academic progress in mind. Okay, so how many of you guys know what the NCAA requirements are, their eligibility? How many of you guys are registered with the NCAA? Okay, so all of you right now can register with the NCAA. You can go on there, that what you have to do is you have to enter the classes that you've taken, depending on whatever year you are. You want to get an eligibility number. So for parents, that's roughly like about $45 to get that NCAA eligibility number. Because once you guys start completing those questionnaires on those college websites that you're interested in, the first thing that they're going to ask, there's a section, is are you NCAA certified? Do you have an eligibility number? So that's one of the things that you can do right now. It doesn't have to be within their senior year, you can do that now. And so basically they want to make sure that they're on track for their core set amount of classes academically. So that's one of the things, if you have not registered, I would advise you to register with the NCAA. Whether or not you go to Division I, Division II, Division III, and NAIA and JC, you don't need an NCAA eligibility number. Division I and II, you do. Okay?
So if I was your coach, there would be two things that I would do as a checklist. One would be register with college you like that. For the O2s, they all had to register and they had to send it to you, then they did that. The second thing would be this registering and doing that when you get home. Well, not today, but in the next couple weeks, get that done. So again, this is all optional for you, but if I was your coach, I would say you need to do that. You need to get it done. Because it's just one less thing that you have to worry about. And it makes you that much more valuable because when a coach talks to you, says, do you have this? Yes. That shows two things. One, character, and two, responsibility, and that you're legitimately serious about playing. If you say, oh, I don't know what that means, or oh, I don't know, there are 10 other girls that want that spot that were already playing on that. So again, just advice, but I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we were in Tempe last weekend for my son. First thing, he had 6 college coaches there for football. One of the first things they asked is, what is your GPA, what is your ACT score, and do you have an NCAA eligibility number? Those are the first 3 questions that were asked. So when you have that, you're ahead of the game because that sets you apart from all those other athletes to say, yeah, you know what, I've already done that. Here's my number, here's my GPA, and this is what I've done, okay? So you want to make sure that you're getting that stuff done ahead of time, okay? And then, go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
Pack skin in there.
Something you should probably look into early on in your recruiting process is to figure out what your priorities are going to be. You got to find out if you want to go Division I, Division II, or Division III. And that might, kind of hash itself out as you start to look into more schools. But, you go to a Division I, you may have to sit for 4 years, and you might not like that. I had some girls I grew up playing club soccer with that were used to starting and playing a whole game, and we get to Nebraska and I started right away and they didn't, and they couldn't handle that. They were just used to playing all the time, and that really took a toll on them. You want to go in and play right away and play a lot, maybe Division II, Division III, or you find the right Division I program. Academics, you want to go to a school that is on par with your academic standards. Obviously, if you don't like school, probably Stanford's not the best choice for you. Social life, big one, big problem for probably any program out there. You go into a Division I, you're probably not going to have a normal college social life. That's definitely going to take a back burner. We had some girls that couldn't handle that, got in a lot of trouble with our team, with our coaches, ended up transferring out, or went down to Division II or Division III. I don't think any division's better than the other. I think it just depends on what is the right fit for you. And you really need to kind of wrap your head around that before you really dive deep into it, or you might end up wasting a couple years in college.
Yeah, so like I said, as a parent, I'm doing this exact same thing. So for example, my son's being recruited by Tyler Junior College. It's one of the best junior colleges in Texas for football, feeds into Baylor and Texas A&M. Just because you decided to go to Division III or a community college does not mean anything. You want to look at, if you're looking at a JC, what feeders do they go into for Division I and Division II? There's so many opportunities. I tell all my athletes, there is a place for someone to play their sport. Regardless of what that sport is, there's somewhere for them to play. But you want to be the best fit. Do you want to be recruited? Yes, of course we see that, those accolades about Division I. That's great, but are you going to play? Like I said, my son had the opportunity. He got a private invitation for the U of A and NAU Combine on this past Sunday. Honestly, as a parent, I don't think he's honestly big enough to play U of A football. But I would rather him go to a smaller school, get some experience, and then be able to transfer somewhere else. So I know a lot of athletes, no matter what sport it is, they're like, oh, I want to go to, it's a junior college. Think about those junior colleges and think about the experiences that you'll have feeding into a bigger university. Okay? It's not about the division. It's about your academics and about your career as far as what you want to do, what you want to major in, what's the best fit. So keep that in mind. I understand all of you guys want to play soccer at that next level, but understand your academics come first, okay?
So Felicia, it's 7:18. I have a precedent for an hour, so then parents, if they have questions,
Yeah.
Okay, so it's.
We can kind of go through these. You can actually, parents, you can go to ncaa.org, look at all of the different division requirements. A lot of them are the same. They are changing a little bit. They're the same as far as core academically, as far as English, math, science, all of that. It's pretty much the same. But as far as, what college coaches look for in athletes, that's kind of where I want to make sure. Like I said, when I'm sitting here talking to athletes, I'm pushing academics. That's where they're going to get the most amount of money is academics and their ACT, SAT support. Okay.
So these videos are really good because I'm gonna let you watch them and then I'll share my experience with them. Okay.
Okay.
So then, Paul.
Yeah, go for it.
We're with Bill Bowman, National Recruiting and Scouting Coordinator for MVP Baseball. Bill, what do the college coaches look at in a player?
It's different nowadays. It's tough to get in college. They're really looking for student athletes. It's student first. Most of the coaches feel that in order to get a good baseball player that's worked hard at it, he's probably done his homework. So it's twofold. If you have a poor student, I'm not, and they're not real sure they're going to do much on the field, to be honest with you. And there's too many spots that are taken from kids that really go to school and do well in the classroom first. We really try to emphasize classroom first to get you really some different schools involved, because if you're not a good student, you're going to have very few schools that really want you to come to their program because they're not really willing to lose a scholarship on a guy, and they figure if you're going to class, you're probably going to do well on the baseball field and work hard there too. But you know, we go around and what college coaches are really looking for in guys. But physically, it's a speed game. From high school to college, the ball speeds up. And if you don't do things quickly, you're not going to go to college and play baseball. It's going to go right by you. The velocity increases and the bats go south. And if you don't do something quickly, or you improve your strength, or if you're not a strong person, or you don't do strength training, you're not going to go to the college level and play baseball. You've got to train. You've got to take it to the next level. You've got to be focused. You've got to really love the game. And that's the bottom line is, do I really want to go work on my game today? Is that what my favorite thing is going to be? Or, you know, am I playing Game Boy? You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know,
What was this video?
that's who I am. I'll be the best player I can be. If I do those things, I know it takes some time. You have to have some patience. But it is a speed game. In college, especially at the highest level in college, you start going 90 miles an hour, you're going to have a quick.
So, yeah. No, so really good. I know it's kind of like a little like Game Boy, like really, guys, right? But what is the core message? Even back then, when Game Boy was like the big thing, what is still the message? Academics, right? They're going to give you the most amount of money for your academics.
And not just that part right there. So I've seen these videos and I heard this and I was like, oh yeah, whatever. You know, I didn't know the legitimacy of this, but like this year with the O2s and going to player showcase and college showcases, I had a coach call me and talk to me about a player, and he talked to me about her technical skills for about, I would say, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, and the rest was all about character. What's she like as a person? What does she do? She come to practice? What does she do during practice sessions? Like, all of it was about character. That's it. And then he came the next one and was watching the warm-up and was watching the game and was there, and she knew she was there. And he was basically trying to test her as well to see if she would buckle under that pressure. So again, I don't share that to scare you. I'm sharing that from experience. Like, I was just shocked. Like, why aren't you asking about what position she plays? Why aren't you asking about can she shoot the ball? Because I don't think she can shoot. I think she was working her shot. He didn't care. He's all, does she work hard? Yeah. Does she come to practice all the time? Yeah. Does she? What's her grades like? Like, well, and I had to give her all her accolades. Well, she's in NHS. She's in this club at school that raises money for the year for. Like, that was, I had to know that as a coach. So this is an important piece you need to hear as well.
And this is on and off the field. So believe me, coaches are watching you. How many of you guys have heard that? On and off the field, right? So they're seeing not only how you win a game and how you act and respond to that, but how you lose. When you mess up, when you miss that shot, how do you take that in and how do you internalize it? Or do you come back, to the sideline and be like, oh, I saw, whatever that may be, right? They're looking at not only how do you treat your teammates, but how do you treat your parents on and off the field. They're watching every aspect of the game, okay? So one of the things I've always told my kids is like, you can wait till we get back to the hotel room to cry on your pillow. But up until that point, you're making sure that you're showing good character. Yeah.
Can you go back to the last slide, please?
So this is pretty basic. I mean, most of you guys are already in line for the academic eligibility. That's really your core classes, which you're already in line to take. So I wouldn't say that none of you guys would not be NCAA eligible because you guys are already on track to follow those core curriculums. But some students who are either homeschooled or taking extra classes, they want to make sure that they are within the eligibility requirements.
And then once we're done with this, I'll email this to your parents as well, so you guys can have all the slides. Just for the sake of time.
Yeah.
It says ACT score 68. What does that mean?
Okay, so when you get your SAT or ACT score, so a lot of things, so every year this change. A lot of times, so parents, I mean, if you're wanting to really, to think about what's happening with NCAA requirements, a lot of things change year to year. So these are like composite scores. So they're going to take a percentage of, so say for example, science, you get a 22. Say math, you get a 15. Say English, you get a 24. That's all included in that, okay? So a lot of times we have student athletes that won't have, honestly, that 2.0 GPA, but if they have that sum score of a 68, they're gonna take that over their GPA. So that's another way for NCAA to kind of see, yes, you may not be eligible GPA-wise, but are you eligible ACT or SAT-wise, okay? So that just goes to show you how much more your ACT and SAT scores matter.
Wait, you good?
Yes.
You can go past this one too. So again, you guys, parents, you guys can go on ncaa.org. You can see all the eligibility requirements. Again, most of your students are already on track to do that. So I really want to touch on social media. How many of you guys have Instagram, Tumblr, and all of that stuff, right?
Snapchat.
Snapchat's huge. Okay, go ahead.
I talk to my coaches all the time. I talk to a lot of college coaches, club coaches, and I have heard just some insane stories of really, really high talented girls that didn't get recruited anywhere and ended up not playing past club soccer because their social media was just out of control. A good rule of thumb is you wouldn't want to post anything that you wouldn't show your college coach or that the president of your university would want to see. With the Sinstas and all of those secret Instagrams, like those aren't secret. Someone can see that on their phone, and all it takes is for them to show one person, and your reputation is ruined. You want to stay humble. I think a big thing. I don't know why people they're just bragging, but if you go on a visit somewhere and they offer you, you don't need to post that. An offer is nothing. You want to let your hard work do all the talking, and if you're posting that you're getting all these offers like that, that says that you're just out there to try to make yourself look better. So I think you want to make sure that you stay humble and that your social media is your brand, and you should really only put out there again what you would want your college coaches to see.
Here's two stories that I had too. I had a girl ask me. She said, "Hey coach, the coach at UNLV wants to follow me on Instagram. Should I let him?" Like, she thought it was creepy. I was like, "Yeah, he's checking on you. He wants to see if you're legitimate or not." And asked to follow her on Instagram. And so that's a test. If she says no, and he's like, "Okay, well you're afraid to show me what's on your Instagram account, and so be it." The other thing too, girls. So when we went to a tournament, the girls players came with their coaches, and they went and they became friends with the girls. "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And they asked to follow them on Snapchat. Same thing. Naive girls are, "Oh, cool, you can follow me on Snapchat." Here, again, that's just another test to see, are you what you say you are? Okay, so I don't know if you know what Finsta is. It's not Sinsta anymore. It's Finsta. Let's say Instagram accounts that your daughters have created. Maybe, I don't know. They might not have.
That's such a good point because
I know that for feathers. Okay, hold on, listen to this.
what it is, social media, guys, you would be surprised how many student athletes lose their scholarship because of social media. Because the coaches who are honestly actively recruiting you will ask those questions. So my son, for example, right now has 5 different colleges following his Snapchat, following his Twitter, following his Instagram. Why? Because they want to see what he's posting, and it's not about what you're posting, it's also about what you retweet. Okay? So think about all of those things. It's all about that. So they want to make sure that they're recruiting a student athlete that's not only going to come to their university and, not only represent their school, represent them academically and represent them socially. So think about all of those things when you're tweeting, when you're posting Instagram, all of that stuff. So when a coach does say, "Hey, I want to follow you," that's actually a pretty good inclination that they're actively recruiting you. So think about that as you go along in your process, okay? Again, know your in-state opportunities. One of the things I tell all my student athletes, so parents, one of the things I really push, like I said, every single one of the schools that are recruiting my son besides NAU are all out of state. You think come August, he will be applying to all the in-state universities regardless, okay? So that's one of the things. We have so much money here in the state of Arizona for our students. So whether you guys are being recruited out of state, wherever you guys think you're going, wherever you think you're going to be recruited to, whether you call it a fallback plan or not, apply to all your in-state opportunities, all of your in-state schools. Because I've seen it way too many times. Too many of our student athletes put all their chips in one bucket. It doesn't fall through. Or they're like, "Oh, remember when I told you I can give you 20 grand? Well, now it's only 8. and you're gonna have to come up with the rest. And then the student's like, oh, I can't come up with the rest. Now they've missed every in-state opportunity guideline. So all the deadlines have passed, and guess what? Now they don't have any, they can go to PEMA because PEMA will accept it anytime, there's no deadline. But U of A, ASU, NAUG, even GCU, they have deadlines, okay? So whether you guys, wherever you guys think you're gonna go recruited from, whatever, always apply to your in-state opportunities. You're gonna get the most money in-state wise, okay?
I'm gonna skip over to ASU.
Yep, that's fine. Again, same thing, know your in-state opportunities, apply to all your state schools regardless. How many of you guys have never had a C in your core class, which is math, English, science, all those schools, all your core classes, right? Okay. So if you've never had a C in any of your core classes, how many of you guys know you would be eligible for the Lumberjack Scholarship at NAU, which is full tuition? Okay? Again, for parents, any student that has never received a C in their core classes will receive the Lumberjack Scholarship at NAU, 100% full tuition. If you're a dollar Pell Grant eligible, which is on the FAFSA, which is your federal, your free application for federal student aid based on your taxes for the year prior, if a student is a dollar Pell Grant eligible, ASU pays your tuition. Okay? So these are things that you guys have to think about. Yes, all of you guys want to play soccer at the collegiate level, but you guys need to outweigh your in-state opportunities versus your out-of-state opportunities, and what is that going to look like financially for you and your family? Some of the big schools that my daughter was being recruited from for softball, some were giving her $20,000 to play softball at the collegiate level. Was that enough out of state? No. When you're looking at out of state, you're looking at doubling or tripling the in-state cost to go to out of state school.
The other thing that Alicia hasn't said is that a lot of you can actually get money where you're being paid to go to school because you get so many of those scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
So College Greenlight, that's why it's so valuable, is that you will actually get paid, not paychecks, but money. So you have all your school paid for, and then you're getting money from here and money from there. Don't think that you're going to have the opportunity to work, like, oh, I'll be fine, I'll work during college. If you're a college athlete and you're playing,
You're not going to work.
you're not going to work.
No.
So you'll literally have money coming in from this scholarship, this opportunity, my meal money. So
Yeah.
take advantage of that.
So once you reach that financial aid cap of what you can receive, you get a refund check. So for example, last semester, my daughter got a $575 refund check. Free money, whatever she wanted to do with it, that's what she got, okay? So that's that same thing. How many of you guys understand what 100% meet needs schools are? Okay, this is like your Yale, this is your Harvard, this is your Swarthmore. These are all of those schools, your Ivy Leagues, your private elites. If you can get into those schools and your family income does not exceed $150,000, they will pay the rest of what you cannot come up with, as long as your child can get into those schools, okay? A lot of Ivy Leagues, private elites, they do not give out athletic scholarships. They will give you 100% academically, institutional grants, all of those other things, and then yes, you can play your sport, but they don't give out any athletic fees. But, so, if you're gonna do homework, 3 things I would take away from this. College Greenlight, 100% meet needs schools, which you can Google, it's gonna give you a whole list of those schools, of what those 100% meet needs schools are. And then, just literally Google 100% meet needs schools. Meet is M-E-E-T.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also,
Yes, thank you for clarifying.
and then the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program, which we call as WUE, W-U-E, Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. Those are the 3 things I would take away from this presentation, are those 3 things. Create a College Greenlight profile. Tomorrow it's super easy, takes you 15 minutes, completely free. Parents, they're not gonna get any spam mail, nothing. What they're gonna get is they're gonna say, hey, you've been matched with the new scholarship. Hey, you said you were gonna apply to the scholarship, the deadline's coming up. They're just gonna be reminders. They're not, when I see so many students in my office, they're like, oh, this scholarship said I had to fill out a survey. No, those are not legit. If you do College Greenlight, it's gonna be an all-inclusive, it's recognized nationwide. They can Google any school within that program. You can research any schools, create a profile. That will stay with you the entire time. My son, who's a freshman, gonna be a sophomore, he's already applied to some of the College Greenlight scholarships. 90% of those scholarships, they just have to be a high school student. They do not have to be an outgoing senior. So as of these sophomores and juniors that are here, you can start receiving college scholarships right now. Okay? So those are the 3 things I would take away from this presentation in its entirety, okay?
I just want to add one more thing to it. So your athletes are going to be recruited in 2 ways. Hopefully you want the soccer piece, right? But the academic piece, that's also how they'll be recruited. So when they do those scores with ACT, I'm very fortunate to have 2 kids that are pretty academically high, and we get stuff from Coast Guard and different universities all the time because of College Greenlight and because of their academic pieces. So that's the second piece. The universities are looking for those students to say, come represent NAU. So get recruited 2 ways, not just 1 way.
Yes, yes.
So are you saying that they need to do the application for Greenlight or?
It's just a profile. No, the student needs to create the College Greenlight profile. That you guys need to include. What I say is to go back all the way to your 8th grade years, because that's really the year when you can join like National Junior Honor Society, all of that stuff, right? Student council, all of that. So we say go as back as your 8th grade year. Whether you've done a Susan G. Komen walk, whether you volunteer in the children's ministry at church, whatever it may be, maybe you're part of a club on campus. You need to start putting that information in as far as activities and outside achievements, those types of things. If you're sophomores, I would highly suggest you guys get involved in school. That's the other thing they're looking at. They're looking at their community engagement. They're looking at what have you done volunteering wise, all of that stuff, not just the athletic piece. Okay, they want to see a well-rounded student athlete.
So I'm going to end it there. Can we give Felicia a round of applause? It's been about an hour. Their attendance span is only 20 minutes, so the fact they sat for an hour, it was great, okay? So if you have questions for Felicia or myself, I can answer. Come and talk to us. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, those papers, please give them to Felicia.